Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to worship at Parkminster. Whether you're here in the sanctuary at home or somewhere else entirely, thank you for taking the time to come together as a worshiping community. And so we begin with the lighting of our Christ candles, whether here in the sanctuary or at home. The one in our sanctuary is wrapped symbolically from week to week in the varying colors of human flesh. The presence of the divine and the human is true in Jesus the Christ and true in all peoples. God's love knows no bounds. It draws us and keeps us together. It is this love that we encounter in the life of Jesus and the Spirit's power. We light our candles to remind us of this holy presence that calls and unites us in worship. Forgot about the hymn. Come, let us sing to the Lord our song.
Good morning. My name is Sue McQueen. Let us continue our gathering time with our responsive statement of welcome. Please join me in affirming the welcome that is extended to all people. Seeking true community and following the example of Jesus, all are welcome here. Welcome to people of all ages, colors, abilities, gender identities, and sexual orientations. May we recognize the spark, the divine in each of us. We continue our service with gratitude and respect as we remember together that this land, this planet is sacred. We are on holy ground. Earth is our only home, and we are connected with all who live here. In every season, the earth offers us wisdom. We give thanks for the gift of clarity that winter brings. In the starkness of the leaf-stripped landscape, we become aware of what we did not notice before. On bare branches, chickadees perch to feed on sumac berries. Animal tracks leave stories in the snow. There is silence here too, an offer of deeply needed rest and a summons for reflection. We lament that we have not honored our deep relationship with the earth. The climate crisis, the devastation of habitats, and loss of species are all calling us to learn and practice better stewardship. The Haudenosaunee, Channotton, and Anishinaabe have cared for and shared this land for millennia. Generations ago, they welcomed newcomers who entered into treaties with them. Treaties and trust have been broken. We all live with the consequences. We seek to live into right relationship with all Indigenous peoples on whose land we have settled. We commit to listening to and respecting their wisdom. This moment of silence, ponder. What is asking for our attention? What is asking to be noticed and understood more clearly?
And so, friends, let's continue our gathering time with some announcements this morning. If you have an announcement and you're here in the sanctuary, just come on up. And if you're on Zoom, just type it into the chat and I will read it out. I just have a few here today. Next Sunday, our Voices of Faith speaker series continues. Betty Priest is going to be our speaker. Betty is a renowned alternative mediation specialist and a lecturer at the University of Waterloo and a lifelong member of the Mennonite Church. So she'll be speaking next week. I'm going to be away on study leave from February 5th to the 11th at a Five Oaks retreat. And there's details in the What's Up on Monday about who to get in touch with for urgent pastoral care situations. And the Reverend Miriam Flynn will be filling in on that Sunday. Also, save the date, February the 25th, after worship is our annual congregational meeting. More details in the weeks to come. Mary.
Good morning, everybody. I'm part of the nominating committee. There's 5 women. In preparation for the annual meeting, which Joe just mentioned, the nominating committee wants to make sure that we are not missing someone who would like to be involved in the work of any of Parkminster's many committees. If you are interested, please talk to me after the service. I'll be down in the gym having coffee. We do have a specific opening that we are trying to fill, and it's the Christian Education Committee. They need someone to write up the minutes of their monthly meeting and share in committee discussion. The CE committee meets via Zoom once a month on Mondays at 7 p.m. Jocelyn says it's going to be a 1-hour meeting, hopefully, maybe 1 hour and 5 minutes, but she said that's it. If you can help on Christian education, or you want to discuss opportunities to get involved otherwise, I'd be glad to chat after the service. That would be wonderful. And thank you to all the people who have already agreed to be on our committees for 2024. Appreciate it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bethany. I am your Sunday school coordinator / youth group leader. I just wanted to do 2 reminders here. First off, the joint United Church Youth Group is meeting on Wednesday. This is our reschedule from the skating, which was too cold 2 weeks ago, but keep an eye on your emails because now it seems like it might be too warm. The weather. We are in theory meeting at the Waterloo Public Square skating rink. Skates are available through the library at either the McCormick or the East Wing libraries, or just get in touch with me if you need anything. But again, keep an eye on your emails for that. Second thing is I'm happy to announce our family parties are coming back starting February 10th at 5:30. It's our Valentine's Day party, so come drop off your kids and you have about an hour and a half to yourselves, either to do laundry or to go on a nice date before you come to the Ash Wednesday service on Valentine's Day. Thanks.
Thanks, Bethany. And just a clarification, the Christian Education Committee is the committee that takes the lead on children and youth ministry at Parkminster. So that's the committee that Mary was saying that we are in need of a volunteer for. So I'm not seeing any other announcements. Friends, our Ministry of Music, our choir has an anthem.
If there are any children or children adjacent here, we can go downstairs, but I don't see anyone right now. No? Okay.
So friends, I would just invite you to ask your souls to come back into your bodies after that piece. I certainly felt mine lifted. Friends, we're hardly ever aware of the stories that shape us, yet these stories are everywhere, telling us we are our productivity, we are our popularity, we are alone. We come to worship to hear a different story, one that reminds us of our original shape, the image of God within us. And so let's pray that this chosen story might be our story. Would you join me in prayer? Spirit who challenges, Spirit who connects, urge us to compassion, break down our resistance, strengthen our resolve, tear open our hearts, mobilize our minds, flow through our bodies, that these words might speak to our lives and our world. Amen. And so before we hear our faith story this morning, let's rise and sing together, Teach Me, God, to Wonder. It's number 299 in your red Voices United.
The reading from our faith tradition comes from the Gospel of Mark, Mark's version of the Jesus story, chapter 1, verses 21 to 28 from the Inclusive Bible. Jesus has been traveling since his baptism in the River Jordan and has been joined by his first disciples, and together they enter a village. They came to Capernaum, and on the Sabbath, Jesus entered the synagogue and began to teach. The people were spellbound by the teaching because Jesus taught with an authority that was unlike their religious scholars. Suddenly, a person with an unclean spirit appeared in their synagogue. It shrieked, "What do you want from us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." Jesus rebuked the spirit sharply. "Be quiet. Come out of that person." At that, the unclean spirit convulsed the possessed one violently, and with a loud shriek it came out. All who looked on were amazed. They began to ask one another, "What is this? A new teaching, and with such authority. This person even gives orders to unclean spirits, and they obey." Immediately, news of Jesus spread throughout the surrounding region of Galilee. This is the good news of Jesus the Christ. Thanks be for this gift of wisdom.
Thank you, Sue. So what comes to mind when I say the word authority? Sit with that for a moment. And of course, our reactions, I think, depend on our experiences with authority and our relationships with authority figures. Parents, teachers, coaches, doctors, police, social media influencers. These relationships are influenced by the power dynamics that are inherent in the differences brought about by the prejudices and stereotypes of skin color, ethnicity, class, gender, sexual orientation, and more. Many factors go into whether authority is a benign, comforting concept or a problematic and even dangerous one. And of course, the concept of authority is rife with controversy in our times. Misinformation and disinformation are at all-time highs. We have a hard time knowing who is the authority on information. There are exposés of abuses of power by police and powerful men. There's an erosion of trust in institutions. It seems that every time we hear about authority in the media, someone is hoarding it, lording it over others, abusing it, or victimizing others with it. And so as people on the Jesus path, it's incumbent upon us to ask, how is the Christian to relate to authority? Henry Nouwen, the late theologian and spiritual writer, said, "A person with great authority has nobody to be obedient to and is in danger of becoming authoritarian. A person who's very obedient and claims no authority of their own is in danger of becoming a doormat. And both are spiritually dangerous. An authoritarian person abuses their authority in trying to act like a god. A doormat abdicates their authority by refusing to claim the authority given to them by God and instead hands it over to others." Now, the Gospel of Mark today says of Jesus, "They were astounded at his teaching, for he taught them as one having authority." Which is interesting, because at this stage of his ministry, Jesus, in conventional terms, is a bit of a nobody. A carpenter from the hick town of Nazareth, far removed from Jerusalem, the center of the Jewish universe. He has no real power. In fact, he's under the authority of some pretty powerful religious and political systems. Jesus is no authoritarian. But his lack of conventional sources of power doesn't mean that he's a doormat either. He's bold, assertive, astounding his audience with his teaching, influencing them, touching something in them. So what's going on? Well, I'm always intrigued by word origins, by etymology. And the root of the word authority is, of course, author. And in Latin, the word author means the power to create. So authority has its origins as a word in creating and creativity. The author Ernest Hemingway once says something to the effect of, "Most of the time I write as well as I can. Sometimes I write even better." Creative power seems to involve more than just the individual. It's more as if the individual is a channel for that power. And in the Christian tradition, we call that power God. Jesus has authority because he is obedient to that God power, that creative power working through him. Jesus' authority isn't grounded in an ego-driven agenda. His authority is grounded in obedience to a call to play his unique part in God's unfolding creation. And I think we instantly recognize people who are obedient to this creative, sacred authority. We know it when we experience it. In everyone who allows God-derived authority to flow through them, there is a sense that there's something at work in them greater than simply themselves. They are channels for creative power. And there's something about this kind of authority that makes us willingly obedient to it. We submit ourselves voluntarily, not by fear or force. It doesn't manipulate us or seek to control us, but calls us to be our true selves and play our part in moving creation toward healing and wholeness in whatever sphere of life we might be involved in. And that's an important distinction. God-derived authority is never about the person through whom it flows. We feel safe around that kind of authority. We feel secure. We feel accepted for who we are and listened to. We know that something good and life-giving will come from our encounters with such people. And as I talk about that, I wonder if there are people who come to mind for you, people in your life who've been channels for this God-derived authority. Some years ago, my late friend Austin is that person for me. I meet him while he's doing some supply ministry at my then church, while I study to become a minister myself. And at the time, Austin has been a United Church minister for some 55 years. And I'm instantly drawn to him and his down-to-earth approach to Christianity. And he becomes a mentor to me. Austin has a certain wisdom mixed with humility. I say this because he doesn't lord his experience or wisdom over me. He listens a lot. He asks a lot of questions. He empathizes. And every once in a while, he gives me a gem, a story, or a bit of advice. And he doesn't do it because he wants to show me how smart he is or how much I have to learn. He does it because it feels that it'll help me grow. It will help me play my part in God's creation. He does it because it serves my interests, not his. After I finish seminary and I'm about to head off to Northern Ontario to my first church, Austin and I have coffee. And I think that at the time he senses that perhaps I look up to him a little too much. So as an ordination gift, he gives me one of those multi-tool things, you know. Originally they were just jackknives, but, you know, they added saw blades and corkscrews and a file and a small... This thing had many tools in it. And the message that I don't completely get in the moment, but that soon becomes clear, is that Austin is telling me that there are many ways to be a minister, that his isn't the only way, and that I need to find my way. Austin at the time is helping to author me, if I can use that as a verb, to create me, to grow me as a minister and as a person. And because of his selflessness, his compassion, his listening ear, I willingly submit myself to his authority. And it's the kind of authority that Jesus wields in his time. Something with which the principalities are unaccustomed. It confounds them. It's an authority that isn't about manipulating or controlling others to fulfill an agenda, and it isn't self-seeking. The kind of authority that Jesus practices finds its roots in his spirituality, in his relationship of surrender to God. And the Christian spiritual journey is always one of surrender. The invitation is to relinquish our agendas and ego demands so that we can claim our birthright as children of God and become channels for that God-derived authority, channels for love, for playing our part in God's creative work. So in the week to come, I invite you to reflect on this in your own life. Are there areas of your life where you're being called to let go of your own agenda, to set aside ego, and to let divine authority flow through you? Or are there areas of your life where you're being called to no longer be a doormat, to claim your authority as a child of God, as one worthy of being a channel for the divine? And what support or help might you need to do this? The invitation in both of these questions is to be co-authors or partners with God in the ongoing work of creation. The greatest claim Jesus ever makes for himself is that he is totally derived from God. Don't look at me, he says, look at the one who sends me, from whom I derive my authority. And that, in a phrase, is the Christian life. To reclaim authority not as something to lord over others, but as a creative force that attracts others to us, that invites us beyond our fears into new frontiers of relationship and healing. So, friends, may we be blessed with obedience to this sacred authority. Amen. be seated. Laura, I'd like to invite you to come on forward. Just as we're about to begin our offering, I'd like to invite Laura Hamilton to come forward. One of the organizations that we support through our offering is A Better Tent City, and so the Outreach Committee and Laura would like to offer an update. Yeah.
I assembled, hi everyone. I'll stand over here, sorry. I assembled a few slides that I call Life at a Better Tent City. And I'll just try and see it from here a bit. It'll just show you sort of what life is like there. And maybe while they're looking for that, I'll just tell folks who may not know what a Better Tent City is. Very briefly, it's a unique community-led effort to alleviate the traumatic experience of living rough in Waterloo region. COVID-19 was the catalyst to coalesce community resources outside of the publicly funded system to create a better tent city. That's a nice way of saying we were created as an illegal encampment and stayed that way for a few months. As a crisis response to the unsafe living conditions for people experiencing homelessness, living with mental illness, struggling with trauma and or addictions that precluded their living independently or accessing shelter or shelters. We use a low barrier housing first approach to support 50 previously chronically unsheltered people, and they moved from dangerous conditions on the streets to a more safe and supportive community. We offer each resident an 8 by 10 foot cabin, although some choose to live in their cabins as couples, with access to shared amenities, including washrooms, laundry, and a kitchen. So during the pandemic, we transitioned from an illegal, unsanctioned encampment to a registered charity. That took about 2 years. Let's see, with support from residents, over 100 volunteers, community partners, Parkminster's counted among them. Thank you all so much for your support. And private donations, the United Way and the Food Bank, we provide 3 daily meals and other essential life stabilizing services. And we've become home for those for whom no other home has or could be provided, supporting residents to reclaim dignity, find hope, and begin to imagine a different future. So when I was here about a year ago with my dear friend Nadine Green, she's our site coordinator, we think of this as radical love. Folks who, well, I'll tell you just a brief description of a Better Tent City residents. They are seniors and elders, people living in poverty, people living with mental illness, persons with disabilities, people experiencing violence, indigenous, racialized populations, people who have long experienced unsheltered homelessness and who struggle with addiction disorders, acquired brain injuries, and other physical and mental health challenges. Many of our residents have been justice involved, and many have been in the system since they were young children. So some of the pictures you'll see are, as I said, Life at a Better Tent City. We work to build social inclusion and skill development opportunities for residents, basically by fostering positive relationships. It's all relationship-based stuff with the community and between community members and volunteers. We do collaborative meals. Residents cook alongside volunteers to prepare meals for the community. We also have afternoon art, Wednesday afternoon art, and a Better Tent City had a community garden this summer. That was, and the art, I love the art program. It's a shared space. We have a local graphic artist who comes in with a variety of visual art supplies. This fosters positive relationships among residents, creates an accessible learning opportunity and a safe space for creative expression. And the artist's name is Hope. So I love to tell folks that Hope comes to a Better Tent City on Wednesday afternoons. Community volunteers also supported us to plan and plant, the residents to plan and plant a vegetable garden. And collaboratively, the residents cared for it. We didn't touch it. And I don't think there's a picture, but they loved picking stuff and bringing it in. We weren't involved in managing it all. And I was in the kitchen one day, and one of the residents came in with her shirt pulled out like this, and it was full of cherry tomatoes. And someone else said, wait a minute, went out and grabbed basil, and they said they were going to make a sauce for dinner. It was a lovely afternoon. So I guess in terms of an update, Why don't I show the slides? That's better, and then I'll tell you what we're doing now. Oh, I can see it here. Perfect. Okay, put that on and you can see what we're like. Oh, you're stopping. Oh, okay. Sorry. This is back at Lot 42. And I just wanted to point out the two people sort of at the back of that lineup. The one, Chelsea, has moved on to her own home, her own apartment, and her partner, AJ, has his own place. He's just moving in this week into St. Mark's. So they've been with us since the beginning at Lot 42. That's how long it takes to get into supportive housing. But we're very happy for them. That was Christmas 2 years ago, when we were outside, and Christmas was in a tent. We had no indoor space at that point. I just wanted to pause for that one because it's a beautiful night. Those two were leaving. It just happened in less than 2 months ago. They were leaving to get their apartment. They were going into a cab. They'd been moving stuff, and this was the final trip with their dog, and they were getting their own housing, and they stood at the door, and I said, I just need to take your picture, and then we all cried. You know, it was great. I probably told you about this one before, but it's one of my favorite pictures. I went in early one morning, like real early, and that's Tammy. She was in the shared space doing that, and I said, what are you doing? And she looked up and said, when life gives you lemons. And the food bank had given us a crate of lemons, and she was making lemonade. And at like 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm just going to stop here because what you're going to see is a lot of people who look like they're eating a lot of food. And these are all pictures I have taken, and I call them brunch for my partner. So we do Saturday and Sunday brunch. And for the first few years, I was doing that with them every Saturday and Sunday. And now we have other people who are taking this on. One of the things that amazed me when people come in and we make French toast and all this great food in the mornings. And they take all this stuff, and I said, oh, that's a lot. Like, we try and counter the culture of scarcity by always having lots so people can have what they want to take. And someone said, no, this is for my partner. I said, you know, when you live in a tent, you don't get a chance to bring anybody breakfast in bed. So you're going to see a bunch of pictures of people bringing breakfast to their partners. This is Holly. She's moved into Blockline. And the rest of the shots are pretty much just folks living and working at a Better Tent City. Residents do all of the maintenance on the site. We do have a site superintendent, but residents keep the washrooms clean. Like, they're on shifts looking after washrooms, kitchen, floors, all of the shoveling, snow removal, salting, dishwashing. Yeah, it's all, those are all resident jobs. That's jam making for about 3 months. We couldn't get jam from the food bank, which is a big deal because we don't have a lot of money and jam's expensive. But what we could get was a lot of berries, and the berries that you get from the food bank have to be used in about 2 hours. So I called the food bank people, and I said, you guys ever get Certo? and they sent a case of Surdo in our next food bank order, and we started making jam. So this is Mary stirring 3 pots of jam, and she was doing it to music. You can't really tell in this picture, but there's a lot of shots too. I don't know how many are in this of jam making, but we make buckets at a time. So often we get margarine in buckets, and they can eat a bucket of jam in a day. I just wanted to point this one out because it's such a beautiful story. It's all relationships. As I said at A Better Tent City, that volunteer is that resident's foster mom who supported her through much of her life and who now volunteers at A Better Tent City every week, at least for an afternoon, and it gives them a chance to reconnect and keep that relationship. And anyway, that's a nice one. We have a few family relationships like that happen where people can't be at home because of the profound illnesses, and but they can stay connected. This is pizza night. This is all you. Thank you. This was all this that you're going to see now was last night, and thanks to Parkminster, and everyone knows that it's you guys. I tell them. That your contributions that you make with your offering into the pizza box, and everyone loves pizza night. It's the only night of the month where they have pop and pizza for dinner, and it's a massive hit. Thanks.
Thank you, Laura, for all the work that you do and maintaining that connection between Parkminster and A Better Tent City. And so, friends, your gifts are authors of love and shelter and food in our community. So in that spirit, let's bring our gifts before God. Holy One, amazing things are possible when we allow your authority to flow through us. And so bless these gifts, that they may be used, that we become partners with you in your creative work in our world, giving dignity to all, feeding those who are hungry, sheltering those who are unsheltered, creating community out of vulnerability. May these gifts be blessed in this way. Amen. Please be seated. And so, friends, as we prepare to leave this sanctuary and worship, we just pause for a moment to share with one another the blessings and the concerns that sit on our hearts this day, and also to offer those blessings and concerns up in prayer. So if you have a blessing or concern that you'd like to share, Sue's going to come around with the microphone. There you go. Just put up your hand and Sue will come to you. And if you're on Zoom, just type it into the chat. And we haven't had a lot of Zoom blessings and concerns lately. So come on, folks on Zoom, type those away. Yeah, Bruce.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to put this into words, but every time I enter this sanctuary, into this building, I am emotionally overwhelmed with the things we do. And I just want to shout out, I was listening to Laura this morning, I was tearing up, and I listened to Mary this morning, and she was talking about one person that we need for our committees, that we do so much work. So our outreach, of course, is incredible. But I want to talk a little bit about the inreach, and that is, you need to take a tour of the kitchen, because the property committee work quietly, but boy do they work. And that countertop just finishes off that kitchen, so you gotta see it.
Okay. Thanks, Bruce. Anyone else? This is where I do have some to share here with you. Prayers for the Wynn family. John Wynn passed away this week. John is the brother-in-law of Barb Wynn and brother to the late Bob Wynn, both members of Parkminster. As well, this week, Ed Mathewson passed away suddenly. Ed is the son-in-law of Norma Hutton and husband of Norma's daughter, Jenny. So we hold them in our prayers this week. Also, Karen Grant, who's one of our online worshipers, she asked to be remembered in prayer as well. She's recovering from a blood clot, and recovery has been slow, and she's experiencing a lot of pain. So we hold Karen in our prayers this day. Any other blessings or concerns to share this day? Yeah, Karen. Oh, wait for the mic to come to you so that everybody can hear you. Okay.
Reverend Joe, I'd like to start by thanking you for all of your reflections, because they touch me deeply and give me a profound way of looking at my life. And I've told you already that I send them to family members. I'd like to also say, I'd like to thank E. Jean Carroll for her incredible bravery that was shown. Her statement from after she left court on Friday. This is a great victory for every woman who stands up when she is knocked down, and a huge defeat for every bully who has tried to keep a woman down. I think of my own daughter, my daughter-in-law, and my two granddaughters. Barack Obama made an incredible statement a number of years ago. You can judge a nation and how successful it will be based on how it treats its women and its girls. So thank you, Reverend Joe.
Thank you, Karen, for those kind words and for lifting up that story.
I just want to have prayers for my good friend Paul, whose other best friend died on Friday. So prayers for my friend Paul.
Anyone else? We did get something on Zoom. I'm not sure if this is a blessing for us in cold Waterloo, but it's from Joe Sheldon. Greetings from sunny Florida. 28 and sunny, Celsius, that is. I miss you all, Joe says. So that's good. I just want to share a quick blessing. I shared with you some months, it's a personal blessing, some months back that my daughter, who's in fourth year film at Toronto Metropolitan, her film was selected for production, and they started filming a couple of days ago, and I was on the set yesterday, and I cannot believe that this shy, introverted kid is running that kind of operation. I'm just blown away. So what a blessing to see my youngest daughter grow into this role. So just wanted to share that with you this morning. So not seeing any other blessings and concerns, friends, let's sing our intent to be open to the Creator in prayer. To the joy and pain of living, may I love in receiving and in giving. Spirit, open my heart. The writer says there are only 3 prayers: help, thanks, and wow. And so we begin with thanks and wow. Take a moment to consider the blessings in your own life. For what, for whom are you grateful? Is there someone that is so constant, so present, that you might actually take them for granted? Yet you realize that without them, life wouldn't be as rich. Picture this person and give thanks. Upon whose shoulders do you stand? Who has authored you by their selflessness, by their obedience to divine authority? Picture them and give thanks. In what ways has grace touched you? In what ways are you the beneficiary of gifts that have had nothing to do with your own merit or hard work? In humility, consider this and offer thanks. Consider your breath, your heartbeat, the mechanisms of life just there, keeping you going. No intention or thought on your part. Pause for a moment. Give thanks. Say, wow. Consider our planet, the Earth, perfectly positioned at just the right distance from our star for life. Give thanks. Say, wow. And so, grounded in the grace of gratitude and awe, we turn to that other prayer, help. There is so much that troubles, but for which we have so little control. Loving Creator, help bring healing to Israel and Palestine. May peace replace conflict and injustice. Understanding triumph over hatred. Guide leaders toward reconciliation, uniting all in a shared vision of harmony. Holy One, help inspire global unity to heal our wounded earth. Grant wisdom to leaders, strength to activists, and compassion to all. Help us to cherish and protect this sacred gift of creation. Compassionate Creator, help us ease the burden of homelessness. Inspire communities to extend a helping hand. Guide leaders to just solutions, ensuring every person finds shelter and dignity. And friends, in a time of sacred silence, we reflect on the joys and concerns shared this day, as well as the prayers held deep within our hearts. Holy One, this is our prayer of gratitude, of awe, of intercession, firm in the faith of your holy presence in all of life's joys and trials. And as we get set to leave these sanctuaries of worship, may we be ever vigilant for the many, often surprising ways that prayer is answered. And when we sense them, may we act with courage and humility. Amen. And so, friends, our closing hymn this morning is I, the Lord of Sea and Sky. It's number 509 in your red, Voices United. Please rise as you are able. So the light of Christ that's with us in worship is a light that we are called to take to the world with us. So go forth from this place this week, offering yourselves up in surrender, that loving divine authority might flow through you. And so go, be blessed by that knowledge. Be blessed that you are needed and wanted in God's plan. Amen.